Okay, so welcome everybody. This is a session about the Certificate 4 program at Photography Studies College. Thank you for joining us. We are joined by myself, Daniel Burke-Smith. I'm the Dean of Photography here at the college, and Professor Vicky Bell, who teaches on the Cert 4. There she is. So what we'll do is we'll talk for a little bit, and then we'll be able to take some questions about the course as well. We'll also, hold on a second, we've got some technical issues here.
Oh no, Matilda, she can't hear.
Let me just see, sometimes it works. Sorry everyone, if you leave the room.
Some of you don't have your names on there, so I apologise, but yeah, you have the option to put your names.
What we'll do is we'll just keep, if everyone keeps muted for the moment, and then if you've got any questions, you can ask them or type them into the chat as we go.
Yeah.
All right, so basically just to talk about the Cert 4, really, it's an intensive kind of 6-month program. I guess in a way it fits into the Photography Studies College kind of family, in that it's taught, like all of our courses, it's taught by practicing photographers, it's taught by professionals in the industry. It's very much focused on giving you the kind of real world experience of what it is like to be a photographer, you know? In terms of the Cert 4, the way it kind of sits in the kind of in the collection of courses that we offer is that it's the most introductory course we have, if you like. So it's for people who have done very little photography before, or have been interested in photography and passionate about photography, but really want to learn what it's all about in terms of technical skills, but in terms of also thinking about photography and talking about photography, and also really understand what it means to be a kind of practicing photographer. So the Cert 4 is taught by Vicky and a number of other staff who are all kind of professional photographers. Most of our staff at the college don't work 5 days a week, even though sometimes it feels like it, but they're actually out there kind of practicing in industry, shooting weddings, shooting for commercial clients, photojournalists, practicing artists, and I think that's really the difference between PSC and other places you might study, is that it's very much focused around the kind of photography industry. And so because of the connections the teachers have, we constantly have people coming in to talk about their work, people coming in to talk about how they got work, how they keep work, how they kind of make their projects. I know Vicky, for example, in the Cert 4 at the moment, she's had a class where you pretty much had a visitor every week, haven't you, just about?
Oh, amazing, yeah. We've been accessing photographers all around Australia who volunteered their time to share their passion, their career, everything about what they do. So it's been amazing, actually.
Yeah. And Zoom, I think Zoom has been kind of a good thing for that in a way, right?
Something good always comes out of something not so good. So this is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also really brings home the wonderful connections that you create, like through your career, and certainly, you know, I've got a great network of incredible photographers who are so supportive of the industry and supporting students. Yeah, 100%. It's been awesome.
Yeah. And I think the key thing about the, sorry, we've got people joining us. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Matilda's back. Now, Matilda, can you hear us? Matilda's one who had some sound issues. Can you hear us now, Matilda?
To type it, maybe. I'll type it.
So look, I think one of the key things about the course, also, we've talked about the industry, we've talked about the kind of connections we have as a college. The other things to really talk about is that we have a really great teacher to student ratio. So it's very small groups, lots of one-to-one support, particularly for students who are starting out in photography. It's really important that they get that chance to have those one-to-one kind of connections and conversations. And also the Cert 4 is very much around practical learning. So it's very much focused around doing stuff. So it fits into the, like I said, it fits into the kind of sequence of courses we have. As you can imagine, a Bachelor of Photography is is practical, is about the industry, and also has the academic side to it as well. So it has, you know, you're writing essays, you're doing research, you're doing all those kind of things that you would expect in a bachelor course. Whereas in the Cert 4 course, you're not doing those things. It's very much practical, it's very much hands-on, it's lots of one-to-one support, it's lots of doing, it's lots of getting out there, getting your hands dirty, dropping your camera in the water, you know, all that sort of stuff, you know. Making those mistakes that you need to make when you start out photography, so that then, you know, the idea is that the Cert 4 then feeds into the bachelor course for those people who want to take it further. It gives you a really solid grounding. And if you complete the Cert 4, you get an advanced entry into the bachelor. So you miss out one of the semesters of the bachelor because you've been given that kind of intensive kind of experience. The Cert 4 has lots of hours attached to it. So it's usually about, Vicky, three to 4 days a week, usually.
4 days a week. 4 days a week, yeah, currently, yes.
And that's split up into different classes, but it's, as you can see, that's very kind of intensive, almost full time, very intensive. So it means that your learning kind of curve, well, it's not a curve, it's like that. And so really means that you're able to kind of immerse yourself kind of in photography. So Vicky, maybe do you just want to talk a little bit about the kind of your experience over the last year or two?
A day in the life.
Yeah, a day in the life, yeah.
Actually, I've got to say I'm really proud about current Cert 4s and just their dedication, and they're so invested in, you know, continuing on in this particular challenging time. So I just, yeah, I'm so super proud of them for that. So I just wanted to share that. Yeah, we build like really great relationships, and that's what I love about the course. It's quite very supportive, and the actual students really connect quite beautifully and, you know, support each other. So my big emphasis really is about building really strong foundations in the craft of photography. So it's really going back to basics. So I know that sometimes students come in and they're like, yeah, but I know how to do this, or I have got experience doing that. But, you know, I always say it's 10,000 hours of practice. So, you know, we go through, you know, the whole system from beginning to just how to, you know, utilize your camera, understand your camera, so you have full creative control moving forward. So I'm very much about, you know, get back to basics. And once those basics and that foundation is established, and you're in that practice of just not even thinking about your camera because it's so intuitive and automatic, not as in automatic. P for professional, but M for magnificent. So we teach you all manual. And then we start to apply all your craft in various genres. So, you know, we start to explore shutter speed and aperture, etc. But we apply it to, you know, a genre of, say, for example, a documentary essay, which is what we did recently. And I actually have some images to show you in a minute. But yeah, so I was blown away with some of the work that came out of that particular sort of isolation documentary essay that we ended up doing, and having to adjust the program obviously to suit the situation at the moment. And it's worked quite magnificently. And in fact, it's, you know, some of the changes that we've made in our course, I'll definitely continue on subject-wise moving forward. But that day in the life of what it's like to be in isolation was quite sensational. So yeah, so for Mondays is pretty much a dedicated day to camera craft. So there's, you know, we do a presentation. I'll do a presentation on a particular topic, and then we'll, you know, usually go out and apply those techniques throughout the day, and then lots and lots of feedback. And normally, as the course continues on, every morning is about reviewing images and giving feedback. And I find that those students who are really sharing their work and, you know, getting that feedback are the ones that are really progressing well. So then we have like a lighting dedicated class, which I absolutely love, and the students really love that. So we just explore, you know, how to see natural light, because often we don't realise, you know, just the magnificence of, you know, available light and how we can use that in different scenarios and situations, being able to see it. And I've got some examples to show in a sec as well. Then we do this like great industry class, and this is where I've been getting professional photographers within the industry that come through and share, you know, what their practice looks like, what, you know, not just about the photography side, but also the importance of the business aspect and how to operate a business, the kind of that whole flow of being a photographer is addressed. Obviously, you know, out of isolation, then we would be going out on excursions. So visiting a professional portrait studio, going to perhaps a gallery. Like sometimes in the past we've gone to Fox Darkroom galleries, which is amazing, and well, when they had a gallery, but currently they're running a darkroom studio, so that's fantastic to go and visit those guys. Great support from our alumni as well, so we have our alumni come through and also do presentations. I also deliver a social media course, which is fantastic. So it's not just about how to upload your images. It's more about, I guess, from my point of view, I see it as how to market yourself, that you are your own shop front, and how do we present yourself to the world. What is your brand persona? What is who's your audience, and identifying that from a marketing kind of landscape, which is quite fantastic. So yeah, I actually teach quite a few courses. It's good, we build a great relationship, and it becomes very holistic as well. So that's the thing, is like, I can see how it works from a craft point of view, and an application point of view, and then a marketing point of view, and so it becomes very well rounded. So Dan.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want to share some images?
Yeah. Okay, yes. So 1 moment, and I'll share my screen. I'll talk to some of the images.
While Vicky's doing this, you should also, if you haven't already, download the PDF of the course brochure on the Cert4 website. Whitney is here, who's our Future Students Coordinator. Just give us a thumbs up. So she can put into the chat the link to the webpage where you can download the course brochure, which talks about the Cert4.
Can you guys see that okay?
No, that's just a white screen. You have to go unshare and reshare again.
I should be able to nominate. For some reason I can't nominate my, let's have a look. Nominate my second screen that I've got up. Okay, let's try that, Daniel. Can you see that now?
Yep.
All right. Oh, this is, good example of us exploring natural light and the environment, and one of our exercises is really, looking at, front lighting, side lighting, back lighting, and how that presents, and being able to identify it. And it's been quite exciting because people are going, oh, now I get it, or now I see it. And also, always talking about the craft, the composition, use of depth of field, especially, how your lenses impact the images, and the mood that you get from all those different lighting aspects as well. So I guess I approach it as if I'm almost doing I'm a portrait photographer. So I show the students what that looks like, what I see when I photograph, and get them to actually do it with me. So, shooting through, having that beautiful foreground, using that open aperture, but also just that beautiful light that comes and, washes across her face. Quite lovely.
And so these are all photographs from current students in the Cert4, yeah?
Yeah. And so some of these, this is one of our out and about location shoots. So lots of fun. And then they were like, oh, I didn't realise I could use the water. Just using that perspective of the Yarra can be a beautiful background. And just isolating can be quite magical. And you can see how excited they get. I mean, really, they're having a great time. So, we went to the gallery, and one of the security guys, one of the workers there, because this is during, shutdown basically, before we were all meant to go home. And the guys were fabulous, and they posed for us. They were very gracious. We made their day, I think. So, the city's just a wonderful background, just looking at, backlighting and being able to isolate and use the, the beauty of the city. And that's Right. There you go.
We open it up for any questions. If you feel like you want to, there they are.
There they are.
If you feel like you want to put your hand up and talk, you can. Otherwise, you can type a question into the chat if you're
Hey, Daniel, I have a question.
Just want to unshare your screen, Vicky?
Yeah, no worries.
Yes. Who was that?
Hi there, my name is Lachlan Dwyer. I'm a prospective for the vocational course.
Yes, hi.
Yes, I just had a question for Vicky. She said that, did you say that we're just doing theory until we're able to get into the studios and use all the camera equipment that you said?
Sorry, say that again, Lachlan.
Did you say we're just going to be doing like online theory until we can get into the studios to use all the equipment again?
Doing online theory?
Yeah.
at
So
the moment.
basically, the way it's you're talking about COVID-19 in terms of
Right. Restrictions, yeah.
yeah. So the plan is obviously with the Cert 4 that the start date is the end of June, June 28th, is it, Whitney? Something like that.
Close, 29th.
29th. So at the moment, obviously, we'll be delivering classes online, and we're ready to deliver classes online. And the Cert 4 students currently have been doing classes online, which has been going really great. So in terms of if nothing changes, we're prepared to do that. But we also are planning that if we can, that we can deliver the classes face to face. So it's just really about the regulations. So it might be that, it might be that we're able to deliver classes face to face by the end of June. If not, we may have some sort of hybrid format that some people are here, some people aren't. But obviously we're planning and hoping that we can get, when we can safely, get students back in as soon as possible. I will say that for
I guess I was just curious.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I was going to say also.
I guess I was just curious how that
You go.
I guess I was just curious how that contradicts with what you're saying about getting like straight into the practical side of it. If we're not able to have access to the equipment, I'm not sure how you're going to be able to follow that curve that you had earlier, or that straight line going straight up.
Yeah,
Your
camera. Yeah,
at the moment, basics, isn't it, Daniel? Like it's really about using what you have. That is your DSLR. How can you maximise and explore the potential of your camera? That's our starting point. So in regards to equipment, we're not at this stage the studio practice is in semester B, which is really, it will be much later in the year. And that will be really working with sort of tungsten lighting at that stage. But it's really about you using that equipment first that you have access to currently.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sorry,
yeah,
Daniel.
I was just saying the Cert 4, you don't really get into the studio in a big way. That's more if you move forward into the degree. The Cert 4 is an introductory kind of course. And so you do get into studio, you do use continuous light and tungstens, but you're not getting into kind of, the kind of complex kind of studio flash, multiple lights, all those things. That's more when you move into the degree course.
And I'll quickly just add to that as well, with the current circumstances, a lot of other education providers are just putting their content online and saying, watch this, do your assignment, hand it in. Whereas, I can, like Vicky works so hard and she's with the students every day, their timetable's the same. So you're still getting that hands-on practical learning because, they might have a camera technique class, they will learn about it, they will shoot it, and they'll come back and they will share their images on the screen.
That's right.
And have that dialogue. So it's really a very, very similar experience. The only difference is you're doing it on a screen like we are now.
Okay, cool, yeah.
And Stephanie has asked a question in the chat about access to equipment in studios, and I think we've kind of answered that already. I think in the Cert 4, as I said previously in the previous session, that when you enroll, you're given a list of equipment that you need, and so you'd need to have that to start the course. And we have some equipment in the studio, but of course the studio is fully stocked to use gear there. But in terms of the Cert 4, like we've said, it is really, the first steps into photography. So you're not getting into the studio in a big way until you kind of finish that and then move into the degree.
Sorry, I think I might have worded that one wrong. I meant kind of like, say like in your free time, do we still have access to the studios? Like, could we kind of like book it out to maybe further our skills? That's not like in the course, if that.
Oh, okay. That's what you mean. Yeah, I mean, as Vicky said, in kind of term 2, you do get a bit of introduction to the studio in terms of tungsten, those sorts of things. In terms of that equipment, I'm sure there's kind of, go Vicky.
Yeah, I know that you have to do a lot of the occupational health and safety part of the studio before you can access anything. And I think it's more at the diploma that you will be able to book it at a Cert 4 level.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe, because you're not introduced to that as a, to the degree that you need to be able to then manage the equipment, understand how to use it, because we really do that more at the diploma level.
In the degree.
Yeah.
And the degree, sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
No worries. Thank you.
But that being said, of course, the college is open, you know, basically, or when we do reopen, it's open 9 till 9. And so, you know, there's the facilities are here as well for students use. So the library, the DigiLabs, all those sorts of things as well. So that's
Awesome.
And it's a
Cool.
beautiful
Thank you.
place. Beautiful.
yeah. And I think, I mean, I'm not sure if I said already, but I think some of the people here were in the previous session, but, you know, we just moved into a new campus at the start of the year. And unfortunately, we're only here for a few weeks before we went into lockdown. But we've got this pristine new campus that's been unsullied by students as yet.
Yeah.
And so...
No chewing gum under the desk yet.
That's right, exactly. So if you... you should have a look at the virtual tour. I'll get Whitney to put a link in to the... There it is. And have a look around the new campus. And we've got this really cool kind of interactive virtual tour. You can kind of zoom around the college and have a look. And it's really been purpose built for us, whereas previously the campus we had was a kind of building that we kind of crammed things in to make it work, and it was fantastic. And now we've actually had the chance to kind of build this purpose-built kind of campus for photography, and so we're really excited about getting students in and using it. I'm here at the moment on my own, pretty much, which is, you know, kind of, and Whitney's there, sorry, as well.
I'm in a classroom.
Yeah, she's in a classroom, exactly. Nice high ceilings and everything.
Nice.
And it's really worth doing the virtual tour and looking at the studios and looking at the library and looking at facilities. It's really, really fantastic. Yeah. Okay, any other questions before we finish up? Whitney, do you want to say anything about applications?
I think Michelle's got a question too.
Oh, sorry, yep.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
Hi.
I was just wondering, when we go to classes, when we can go back after the restrictions are lifted, is there any parking, or do we pay for parking or transport? I'm sure there's a close tram stop or train or something. But
Yeah,
in
there is.
regards to
Yeah,
parking, is there like free all-day parking for students?
We unfortunately we don't have our own car park, but there is lots of parking around here, and it's not too expensive. There's 4-hour parking on the streets around here, but also we're kind of wedged in between two or three tram lines as well. So we're not too. If you look us on the map, we're about 100 meters from a tram stop or less, and there's another tram stop that way, and there's buses, etc., etc. And it's about a kind of 15-minute walk into the city, so it's not too far from the city as well. But yeah, there's, you know, we're luckily the move that we've made, we're actually in an area where there's lots of creative kind of industry businesses around here. Like we said, Sun Studios is around the corner, lots of cafes, and not that they're open at the moment, but lots of cafes and those sorts of things. And there's a park over the road. So there is parking here, but it's not free, but it's not like in the city.
I think it's cheaper though. I think it's much cheaper than the city classes.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank
Plus,
you.
there's bike paths really close for all the fit people out there.
Any other questions?
Winnie, do you want to talk about application?
Financial question.
Sorry, what was that? last one?
I had a business question for Daniel. I was just curious, do you run the business side of things? I was curious if you have attempted to look into like Commonwealth subsidization, and what would be the restriction there? Why? Is it because it's a non, is it because it's a special school is the reason why we can't get Commonwealth behind that? Have you attempted anything like that? Any comments on that?
We've been attempting that since the college has opened 40 years ago. So basically the government, don't offer those places to students who who study at private colleges. So that's a government thing, and we campaign and lobby them every year to change that, because we think it's unfair that students can't choose the higher education institution of their choice, and they can't choose to study photography at a specialised college without having the same support that someone at Melbourne Uni or RMIT would have or something. So we're constantly, we think it's unfair too, and we're constantly kind of lobbying the government to change that, really. That being said, the Cert 4 does have some different options in terms of funding, Whitney, that's right, isn't it? In terms of for students, depending on who you are, you can, Whitney, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I was going to ask with the skills first. I was going to ask what the difference is. Why would they allow that? Is it because it's a lower level, like it's vocational rather than tertiary?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so there's different funding based on the kind of level of education you're getting. So I have a session later in the day about, you know, different funding options for the courses. But for the Cert 4, in terms of government funding, there's the Skills First program. Now, there are different eligibility levels, and you essentially you can't have any higher levels of education to receive the funding for Skills First. But in saying that, one of the great things about Skills First funding is that, unlike Fee Help or HECS, where the government loans you the money, with Skills First, they actually contribute to your education. So, you know, you don't need to pay that money back. But
it's a subsidy.
Yeah. What was that, Lachlan?
I said, yeah, it's a subsidy.
Yeah, exactly. I can include a link to the session later today where I will have Rosanna with me. I think it's one of the last ones of the day at 2 p.m. And we can go into further discussion about it.
And I think one thing to say also is that if you complete the Cert 4 program, then you do have, you can apply then for some credit into the bachelor course. So then you wouldn't have to do the whole bachelor course. You'd actually have credit for some of the subjects in the bachelor course. So you would kind of save money that way. You wouldn't be then, you know, paying twice, if you like. But in terms of the, government funding, that's something we're constantly pushing for, you know.
So the reason they're given is because it's a specialist kind of thing? Is that the reason?
Well, it's just a blanket thing for private colleges that they're doing, and I think it's something that comes from universities. That universities are scared of private colleges because we have, you know, much better student feedback. We have much smaller classes. You know, we don't cram 600 people into a lecture theatre. You know, we're very specialised. We're focused on industry and getting jobs and all those things. And I think, and I think, you know, in terms of what we offer, we do counteract all those things by offering such a different kind of, you know, package, if you like. You know, and you just need to look at, you know, our student feedback and our student outcomes and our graduate outcomes and our employment rates, all those things. You know, in an industry that people say is so hard to get into, we have, you know, over 80% employment rate for our graduates from our bachelor program, you know. And I think that's because we are so connected to the industry.
Okay. Yeah, just a business question.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, I think, look, that's what everyone should be thinking about, you know, is those things. Because if you want a career in photography, that's what you should be thinking about from the start. And, you know, being strategic about it, you know, spending your money in the right way so that you know that what you're getting is where you want to, is taking you to where you want to be, if you like, you know. Any other questions? No? All right, we might wrap it up there. Whitney's gone to sort out a technical issue somewhere else. So as Whitney said, at the moment, coming up next is a talk with Scott McNaughton and Eamon Gallagher, who Scott McNaughton's a photographer for Fairfax and a teacher at BSc, and Eamon Gallagher is also a photographer for Fairfax and other institutions, other places. And they're going to be talking about the short courses and the photography for enthusiasts. So thinking about kind of part-time courses and introductory courses. We've also got a talk on at the same time in 5 minutes with the print shop. So we have a dedicated print shop area at the college, which is a professional print lab. So it caters for the students, but also caters for outside clients. And Peter Hatzapavlis, who runs that print shop, is a much sought after printer, prints all of the stuff for Roan. I don't know if you guys have heard of Roan, the photographer who sells his work for thousands and thousands of dollars. So Peter prints all of his work, but also prints lots of exhibitions for NGV, the Contemporary Photography Gallery here, Monash Gallery of Art. He's very proudly got prints up on the wall of all the photographers he's printed who've won national awards. So if you come in, you'll see that. And so he's talking also at 11:10. And then at 11:45, we have a panel discussion with myself and a few graduates about careers in photography as well. So join us then. Okay. Thanks, Vicky. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.